Karyn Bryant for MMA Heat. I'm here with Josh Koscheck, who's taking on Jake Ellenberger at UFC 184. Obviously, the first question for you is, it's been quite a long layoff for you. What have you been doing in the meantime, and how good does it feel to come back?
I've been pretty busy, working on business. As far as the mentality that I have in the cage and training for a fight, I use every day in my business aspects of trying to close deals and work on things. So I had a great 15 months, started a new company, and I'm just thriving, trying to be, the world champion CEO now.
Well, I remember that the last time you were here in Los Angeles, you were taking meetings in between working over at Fox. Is there anything that you can tell us about these other companies, what they are?
I started a company called Check Defense, and it's a government contracting company, and I work with a lot of retired vets, military, and it's a fun transition to learn this aspect of business and bringing my perspective of my business is that what I do and my work ethic into this new realm, and it's been a great 15-month learning adventure, and it's been fun, and part of the strategy is the retired military personnel, they fought for our freedom, and this is an opportunity for me to hire ex-military and retired vets, and it's one of the big opportunities that I have to do for our military, and I think it's going to be a great opportunity for myself to venture out to installations. I got the opportunity to fight in Fort Bragg. I got the opportunity to fight on Miramar at the Marines, and I constantly am always visiting military bases, so I think it's a big passion of mine, and I've been passionate about the military for a long time, and so this is going to be my opportunity.
Nice, and I'm sure greatly appreciated by the vets. I do want to talk about your work ethic in terms of getting back to fighting. Was it difficult to come off of that long a layoff? How active were you in terms of training during that time, or did you just sort of give yourself a 10-week camp specifically for this?
No, I was always training. I love the feeling of being in shape. I love the feeling of being fit, being healthy, and I live the lifestyle. Whether I'm going to be competing for a UFC fight or not, I'm still always going to train. I taught some jiu-jitsu classes at my gym in Fresno, so it was a good opportunity to just kick back. No pressure of like, oh my God, fight camp, because it can be hell when it comes time to fight camp. So for me, it was just an easy transition. Hey, you know what? I think I'm ready to fight again, Bob Cook. And he called the UFC, and they set me up with a fight. So
how did you feel about being matched up with Jake Ellenberger?
I was originally supposed to fight some other guy, and I don't say no to who I fight. So I just was like, yeah, sure, I'll fight this guy. And then
who was that guy? Do you know?
No, I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm drawing a blank right now. So
you guys get hit in the head every now and then, Josh. It's okay if you don't remember.
But it was another fighter that I was supposed to fight on this card, and then a couple days later, the UFC called back and said, "Oh no, we want you to fight Jake." And I was like, "Well, I don't say no to who I fight. So sure, if that's who you want me to fight, then." That's who I'm training for.
Are you going to keep going after this one, or do you think, I'm not sure everybody knows how many fights you have left on your contract, and obviously now you're so involved in other businesses. Is this something you want to keep doing?
Yeah, absolutely. I have 2 fights left on my contract, and, I plan on fighting those 2 fights out and then seeing where I go. So, but for right now, I take it one day at a time. I don't look past, this fight with Jake. I'm not looking, to my next fight yet. What I'm doing is I'm taking it one day at a time. I have 2 fights on my contract, and I'm going to fight my contract out, and then I'm going to sit down with Dana and say, hey, would you like me to keep fighting for you guys, or what's, where do I go now? So, but I'm obligated for 2 more fights with the UFC. I started my career here. I'd like to end it here. I think it's something that, Josh Koscheck, came on The Ultimate Fighter as a wrestler, and, here I am still 10 years later, how many ever years it's been, and I'm still fighting for the organization. And counting The Ultimate Fighter, I've had 27 fights with UFC, and so I'd like to end it in my career inside the octagon.
Now, you know our good friend Alan Jouban is on the card tonight. We had a lot of fun at his expense at Fox, and I actually did an interview with him the other day, and we were talking about that. He said he had gotten a lot of tweets about what we were saying on the air, and then he got kind of nervous, so he didn't really watch it. Afterwards, he watched it and had a good laugh. Have you guys had a chance to meet each other yet?
I haven't got a chance to actually get to meet him, but hey, he's a young and up and comer. I think that after he's done with his career, he's going to probably have some cuts and some bruises and possibly some missing teeth. So, so he better take advantage of his good looks now, I guess. Huh?
It's all in good fun. Last question for you, Josh. Did you fly yourself down here? You still an aviator?
I'm still an aviator. I've obviously had taken a lot of time off from flying just because, the fight camp and things like that and just being focused. But, it's still a passion of mine. And unfortunately, I didn't get to fly myself here this weekend. I just didn't want to have to stress out about, doing all my pre-flights and things. I wanted to focus on the fight, and in the past, I've tend to get distracted, when it comes time to, hey, I want to go and fly and get my mind off of fighting and things like that, and it can somewhat take me away from the aspects of training and competing. So for this fight, I stayed pretty strict, and I didn't do hardly zero flying actually, and I just focused on eat, sleep, train, and work on business in between those sessions.
Nice. Well, I'm glad to see you. I'm surprised you're not wearing your gloves. I know you don't usually like to get the germs on fight week, and you usually have your gloves on.
Yeah, I don't. The reason I don't have them today is they made me dress nice. So I would like to. So I just do a lot of knuckling, or elbow. So.
Very nice. All right, well, it's great to see you back, Josh. Best of luck to you.
Thank you.